Okay, so I know our very last face-to-face class, we were just starting with the reflexive verbs, okay? Reflexive verbs are verbs that indicate the action is going back onto the speaker, okay? So we don't really speak this way in English, so I just want you to try to pay attention. If you guys have any questions, let me know. If you have struggled with this section right here on the VHL homework, pay close attention to this video and then try to make sure you understand it before you take the exam, because this is the vast majority of this exam, okay? So anyway, your reflexive verbs indicate that the action is reflected back onto you. So like I put on makeup every day, right? So I would say yo me maquillo, okay? Me meaning I'm doing it to myself. Yo me maquillo. Okay, the verb is just a regular old verb. These verbs are they're not conjugated any differently than the verbs that you learned way back in Spanish 1. Okay, so now some of these verbs are stem changing verbs, some of them are not. Okay, some of them are irregular, some of them are not. Okay, you just have to look at your book and you can pretty much tell that. So really just look at those lists on page 221 in chapter 7, and they're going to have the little parentheses outside to tell you if it's regular or irregular. Okay, so we're just going to start with a regular verb just to practice, kind of review that. All right, so we'll take the verb irse. Okay, ir is the verb to go, okay, that you learned back in chapter 4, okay, to go. The only thing you're doing is you are conjugating that verb, okay, voy, vas, va, vamos, if you can see my little board, van, okay? That's what you learned back in chapter 4, okay? So that's the verb ir. Now, ir means to go, okay? But if we are saying to leave or to go away, notice the meaning changed slightly, okay? Yo voy a México todos los años, okay? So every year I go to Mexico. But if I'm going to leave my office, okay, then I would say ya me voy. Me voy, I'm leaving or I'm going away, okay? So the only difference is when we want to use irse, the reflexive verb, it's yo me voy, tú te vas, él, ella, usted se va, nosotros nos vamos, ellos, ustedes se van, okay? So we could say, yo me voy a la casa. Me voy a la casa. See? So I'm leaving, going to the house. Okay? Now, I'm going to erase this, and then we'll just go over one of the stem changing verbs. Okay? So if we're looking at a verb like, for example, acostarse. Okay? It's an O to UE stem changer. Right? The same reflexive pronouns apply. Okay? If I'm talking about yo, then I'm going to use the reflexive pronoun me. Okay? Yo me acuesto. Okay? Notice that O on the end is still there. Okay? Same way that you've always conjugated your yo form verbs. But that UE in the middle changes. Me acuesto. Tu te, it's an AR verb, acuestas. El, ella, usted, se acuesta. Okay? Now, if you remember in Spanish 1, I called these the boot verbs. Okay? I'm going to need to make my boot longer, but... Okay. Nosotros nos acostamos. Okay? Ellos, ustedes se acuestan. So notice in your nosotros form, it's outside of the boot, it's regular, just like it is in the infinitive. But when it's inside that boot, okay, it is irregular. But your reflexive pronouns are really the only new layer that we've added to this, okay? So if I'm going to say, I go to bed late now because I don't have to get up super early. Yo me acuesto tarde. Okay? Because I am going to sleep late. I'm doing it to myself. Yo me acuesto tarde. Okay? Now, one last thing with reflexive verbs, and this is, I've had a lot of help requests and text messages about this on the VHL. You have to remember the rules for all pronouns. If it is a direct object pronoun, an indirect object pronoun, or if it is a reflexive pronoun, what you have to remember are those simple pronoun rules, okay? Pronouns, number one, must always, always, always go before a conjugated verb, okay? But two, if you have an infinitive, then you can put it at the end, okay? But don't get confused, okay? So if you only have one conjugated verb and you don't have an infinitive or the ing, the participle, then you have to put it at the beginning. So that's just a good rule to always remember. Just put it at the beginning, you're never going to be wrong, okay? So if I'm going to say tonight, I have to go to sleep early, okay? Then I would say, yo tengo que acostarme temprano. Okay, so here's my conjugated verb, all right? Yo tengo que, so if you remember that tener que plus the infinitive, we learned those back in chapter 3. Yo tengo que acostarme. So notice, here's your infinitive, but then we've put that reflexive pronoun at the end, okay? Now notice, we did not leave it as say, because I'm talking about myself. So I have to use the reflexive pronoun that corresponds to me, okay? So remember, these are our reflexive pronouns. Me, te, se, nos, or se, okay? So if I'm talking about myself, me. Yo tengo que acostarme temprano, okay? The other possibility that I could use is I could say, yo me tengo que acostar, okay? So I put it at the beginning. Remember, you can never, never, never break up that verb phrase, okay? So we do one more example like that for the reflexive video. Okay, so well, let's talk about this virus, right? This coronavirus, el coronavirus, okay? So I can use ponerse plus an adjective, okay? So I would say, me pongo nerviosa el virus, okay? Me pongo, okay? So remember, ponerse plus the adjective is, ponerse normally means to put on, como me pongo la ropa, me pongo el maquillaje. But you can also use it with an adjective to discuss how you feel, okay? Me pongo nerviosa, see? Okay, so I hope you guys aren't too worried. Stay safe, but here is a video to go over the reflexive pronouns and the reflexive verbs, okay? Get working on the VHL. once you feel like you know it, okay, move on to the next section. Okay, adios.